All right, here we are.
Yep,
It's been a while.
I know. It's been a long time. Long time coming.
So, what have you been up to?
Uh,
I know what you've been up
Christmas, and then
to. Yeah, Christmas.
recovering from Christmas. It's March now,
Yeah.
March 14th.
We just did a race together. How was that?
Wet and brutal. Wet and slippery and painful.
Yeah,
It was hard.
A brutal
That was
race.
a tough one. The slipping wasn't too bad. I mean, my shoes, they're pretty good as far as grip goes, but on the rocks, they weren't bad, but the roots were kind of bad because, there's really they're ground, so you get on there and there's nowhere for your shoe to grip, so you just kind of slide down it. That happened a lot, and then...
I thought that the rain helped cool me down, because last year I got a little overheated, but this year I didn't get overheated at all. And that helped me with my pace, but the mud slowed me down because because you're constantly having to get a good grip with your feet, and all those microseconds that you're slipping around.
Yeah.
It makes a difference in a 26-hour race. 26-mile race. So, even though I did better than I did last year, I feel like if the weather was like last year, I could have did a little bit better than this year. But, no excuses. I went into the race saying that I was going to shoot for 5 hours flat, and when I came across the line, it was 5 hours and 8 minutes. So I would take that as a win.
5.8? No, you did 5 flat.
5 hours even.
Yeah.
8 seconds.
8 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
5.08.
So yeah, it's 5.
Yeah.
5 even.
Yeah.
But I'll count the extra 8 seconds.
Yeah. Well, I thought I did 5.08, but when the results came out, it said 5.10. So I guess I did a 5.10. That was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the rain wasn't bad. I mean, as far as raining on you, it's the bad part is when you get down into the valleys, and you're just jogging through mud or whatever, slosh. But
what did we do before that? What race did we do before that? Oh, we did One Epic Run. No, not One Epic. No. We did the Fellowship of the Idiots in February with Andrew and Jack. And Jack did really good with that one.
Yeah.
Andrew he stopped at 13 miles, but it was fastest. The longest he's ever ran. But we all got up to the top of the mountain, saw the sun rise, which was cool.
Yeah, it was the best sunrise it's been in a few years.
And before that, what did we do?
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, I know what we did. It was in January.
I can't remember.
We did the Afton Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
It's here in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
15 or 6. I did 15 or 16. I can't remember.
So the Afton Challenge is just a mile loop that's run here in this neighborhood, and for 2 hours, the course is open for 2 hours. Just how many ever miles you can get in 2 hours. I think the winner ended up doing 18 miles, which is pretty incredible.
And it's a hill.
Yeah.
Mount. That's why they call it Mount Afton. So after a few laps, the hill starts getting to you.
Yeah.
Because you just hit the same hill over and over. It's about like a half a mile up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this last one though, the URI, that wouldn't wore me out. I'm sleepy right now, and it was 6 days ago.
Have you ran since then? Would you?
Yeah, I did today. I went out and did 5, and then
That's what I did today. 5.
2 days ago I did 3. But just kind of slowly getting back into it. I was too sore to do anything more than that. Before today I felt pretty good.
Yeah. So our next race is, what is it? Soggy Bottoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soggy Bottoms Trail Run. Put on by Wes.
Yeah. It's at the I can't remember what name of the farm is.
Oh, we're gonna get Wes in here for a podcast. Talk about maybe before the race or maybe after the race. Talk about his race.
Yeah, that'd be good. So,
yeah,
that one's just a 2 mile. I think it's a 2 mile.
2 mile
loop
on trail, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it's a timed loop. What are those called? Extinction run? I don't think it's that. I think it's just see how much you can get in
hours?
8 hours.
Oh, it's 8-hour course. Okay.
Yeah.
So
or
how many miles can I do in 8 hours?
Whew. This took me 5 hours to do a marathon, so
But that trail
maybe. I don't know. I don't know what my
might
goal
go for
is going to
50.
be. 50? Whew. Yeah, I won't be able to do that.
I mean, depending on the course.
Yeah. It says soggy bottom, so I don't know. If it rains, it might be soggy. Because a lot of it is floodland, he said.
It'd be appropriate if it rained then.
Yeah.
And being in April, there's good chance of rain.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Okay, well, let's change the subject. What have you been reading?
John. I've been reading through John for like 4 months.
Really?
Yeah. Well, just because my youth has been going on at the church, so I've been studying for that. And then also, I've been doing that stair remodel at my house.
Yeah,
and that's just taking a lot of time.
Yeah,
also,
taking too much time.
Yeah. But also John, I love John, the book of John. So I've been reading, like, I'll read like a chapter. I like to read the King James Version just because I like it. And then I'll go back and I'll read it in like the AMP. And then I'll read it in like the ESV. So I'll read the same chapter over like 2 or 3 times just because.
That's what I do. I read the King James Version and then I reference it with the English Standard Version.
The reason I started doing that, it's just because I started noticing, like my church uses the ESV, which is good, but I started noticing some little differences. They'll leave out some verses because there'll be notes that say this verse wasn't included in earlier manuscripts or whatever. But it'll be like example is like this weekend we did prayer at the youth and we studied the Lord's Prayer. Well, they leave out the end of it, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done," that part, but like the AMP and the King James, they have it in there, And so, I like it there.
Yeah.
And plus, I've watched some stuff on that and on like some of these versions leaving some stuff out. I mean, it's because some of the earlier manuscripts didn't have the verses in there, but that don't mean they weren't originally part of it.
Right.
So I would rather it be there myself. So that's why I do that. That's why I started doing King James and then the AMP. And just because the AMP, it'll expound upon words. So I came up with a theory, like, you know how they say, well, you can't translate some of the old stuff the way the King James did, because if you because the Hebrews or whatever, the language has changed or whatever it was. So if they try to redo it now, it might not be as accurate as it was then. And that's true, but you could also use that argument with the King James for yourself. Like, when you read the King James, some of the words now, for us, because we're in 2024, they don't mean the same. You know what I mean? Like, so you could do the same. So the excuse you're using not to use another version could be the same excuse for not reading the King James.
Right.
So I'm putting the two together, and I'm reading both. And that's why I'm doing that. Because I don't want to miss out. It's just, and it helps because they do expound upon like words. Like, I don't think like sometimes like I don't think the English language translates the words well or something, and they'll but anything that they'll put in parentheses, like we'll use one word, but then there'll be like a bunch of other things to describe it even more. So
yeah,
it helps me. It's been helping.
Well, I mean, it's good that you've gotten to the point in your reading that you can do that. It's like, well, I mean, I've been reading the Bible all my life, but now, in the last year or two, I've really gotten into more. But I feel like I'm still, like, almost like a babe in Christ, But, I talked at youth last night and was talking to young people, I don't know, 13 to 18. And the main topic was just trying to get them to... I opened up by saying, how many of you know how to read? And nobody raised their hands. I don't think they knew that they were supposed to raise their hands. So then I said, raise your hands if you know how to read. And then everybody raised their hands. And then I said, well, how many of you like to read? Only a few raised their hands. So, the young ones aren't reading their Bible daily. And even I struggle to read my Bible daily. I told the kids that you can just start. I know reading the Bible is hard, especially if you're starting with King James Version, it's Old English, But if you just start maybe 5 minutes, you start. If you do it daily for 5 minutes, it'll get easier, and then you'll want to go to 10 minutes. You're working that muscle, that reading muscle.
Yeah.
And then you start learning, and then in the end, if you stay strong with reading the Bible and you start learning some stuff, it'll grow that reading muscle, and it'll grow your faith. And
yeah, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
And then you start wanting to read. Like, I'm not a good reader.
I'm not. I'm the worst reader.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
I'm
another reason it helps to do it twice.
Bad speaker.
Yeah.
One thing I also do, I mean, I read, but I also, if I just get tired of reading, I put my headphones on and listen to it on my phone. They got the, I don't know, it's a Bible app that it'll speak to you?
Yeah, it was probably the same one I have.
And
But I don't remember what it's called.
sometimes that helps me a little bit more. But then a lot after I have to go back and look at stuff. But what I've been reading lately with my son Andrew is Romans, and man, we got real into that, and it's kind of stalled lately because of other things going on. But we're gonna get back on that. But in the last few days, I've been reading I don't know why, but I've just, for some reason, opened my Bible and I decided I was going to read Ecclesiastes. And man, Ecclesiastes is crazy, weird. I mean, not that weird, but
That's Solomon.
yeah,
Always
well,
vanity.
Yeah, vanity. Pretty much everything's vanity. I mean, I've read it before, but now I'm really getting it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not real hard to get, but for a young person, maybe reading Ecclesiastes and looking at all these good things, and then he says, and it's vanity. Like, just pretty much everything is vanity. And you don't get it until the end, the last few verses. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work unto judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So, fear God and keep his commandments, whole duty of man. I don't know.
That's good. That's weird that you read that verse, because I was going to read this one. Because it's what you asked. We didn't prepare this. He just said, let's do a podcast real quick, or a show, or whatever. And I was reading through John, and this verse, this part, for me, I mean, it's kind of the same thing you just read, but it stood out big on me, and it was John chapter 15, and starting in verse 12, it says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." Oh, wait a minute, no, let's go back up. Starting at verse 10. "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." And this is the thing right here, that verse 11 is what really grabbed my attention. "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." So I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, that's why a lot of Christians, and even us sometimes, a lot of times, probably a lot of times, we're not joyful. Our joy is not complete. You know, you always talk about the joy of the Lord, because we're not like, if we're not keeping his commandments, if we keep his commandments and if we follow him and abide in his love, that's how your joy is going to be complete. I think we look to other things for our joy. We did a verse not too long ago in youth, and it was the walking in the Spirit, and one of the verses was, "Don't be drunk with wine. Instead, fill yourself with the Holy Spirit." And the reason he said don't be full with wine is, I mean, you can put anything in that. You can exchange wine with anything. You could say don't be full with, whatever the thing is. Don't fill yourself with that. That's not what you're supposed. As a Christian, you're not supposed to fill yourself. Look for anything else for your fulfillment, for your joy, for your strength, for your peace, for your comfort. all those things you should look to the Lord for, and anything that you try to throw in there is basically probably like an idol. Yeah, in vain. So that verse really, so like if you're walking around and you're like just like this miserable Christian, then maybe, just maybe, that could be why, because you're not filling your life with, you're not looking to heaven. Yeah. You're not looking to God. You're worried too much about the things of the world and your possessions or whatever,
Yeah, if you
just not trusting in Him for everything.
And
that's how
the
what He says.
Have peace.
Yep, that's what He said. That's how your joy will be complete. But it's kind of the same thing Solomon's saying there at the end of. It's what he concluded at the end of Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, that's good. The really crazy thing that shocked me in Ecclesiastes, I don't know if I should read it, but it might make some people mad if I read it. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't write it.
The quest for wisdom is a quote on here. So this is Ecclesiastes 7:23 through 29. All this I have proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it? I applied mine heart to know and to search, and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness. And I find more bitter than death the woman. The woman. Let me read it. And I find more bitter than death the woman, those whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands are as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one, to find out the account. Yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found. Lo, this only have I found, that God hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. I don't know, it's really down at some women there.
Yeah. Well, he had like 400 wives, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
Solomon, right? He's the
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Why he's down on women.
But I mean, somebody reading that for the first time and be like, "What?" Or if a woman read that, I don't know. I just found it interesting.
Yeah, that's funny.
Anyway.
Well, he's the wisest man there to ever live, so who are we to question that?
Yeah. I was going to read it to my youth.
Yeah. Read it in your church.
Just read it to the men in my youth.
Yeah.
Well, teenagers. Just those couple verses. Her hands are bands, whose heart is snares and nets, more bitter than death, the woman. Anyway, well, so Billy and I have a lot planned for the rest of this year. I'm going to try and do, I'm not going to say I'm going to do a podcast it's a show every week.
Name change.
Well, there's another podcast out there that's called Brotherly Love Podcast, and they're doing well. I'm not gonna say they're not doing. They're doing good.
Bunch of nobodies though.
Yeah. I mean, they got a couple of famous people, so they think they're all good. But well, we got Jesus, who's more famous than that, right? So this is our name. Watch the show. There's gonna be more on here than just us talking. I'm gonna put some running videos on here, and then we're gonna talk to other people. Get Wes in here. I'm gonna get my dad in here. Talk to him. And anybody that listens, want to be interviewed, we can interview you.
Try to shoot some videos of the Soggy Bottom Ultra.
We'll do that.
And we have Wes on here.
Well,
I wanted to help him out more, but he kind of just ran with it. But he had his cousin helping him, so
yeah.
it's kind of hard to get, all that
Call him
organized.
Ambitious Wes.
Yeah. He did good. So far, it looks
Very good. And these
awesome.
Bibles aren't here just for show. We actually read these Bibles, but it is easier to just
Yeah.
the iPad.
Mine's at the house.
Okay, till next time. I think they call it tagline. You know how Milk said.
Yeah.
What can be our tagline?
Think about it.
I'll think of something. You think of something.
Enough said.